Hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, just hi Manoj. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Soul to Soul sessions with AB, myself, Amit Bhutani. Hi, Sukoon. Welcome to another session of Soul to Souls with me, Amit Bhutani, on a nice, lazy and chilled out Sunday evening. Just for those people who have joined in right now, and I would like to tell you about the show. In Soul to Soul sessions with AB, basically, I get in experts from various fields related to physical well-being, mental and emotional well-being, and spiritual well-being. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Um, what we had in the first sessions and the first talk I had with a nutritionist expert, Mike Tolani, where we discussed more on the physical aspect of it. We spoke about minerals, supplements, its effects, advantages, what it does for us. And then we went on in the next session with a nutritionist, Kamna Bhandari. We spoke about diets, we spoke about intermittent fasting, we spoke about physical health, again related to the physical well-being part of it. Then the last session that we had was very exciting. It was related to mental well-being. We spoke about mental resilience in this time of pandemic with Shraddha Sidwani last week. This week, we're going to be looking something more on the spiritual and energy side. I believe the deepest part of healing always comes from the inside out, you know, and tarot science is something which helps in connecting. Either you can call it one's higher self or the cosmic intelligence, to help you, to provide you with the wisdom and guidance. We all, when we were young, had this kind of a picture of a tarot card reader would be in long flowing robe sitting in a dimly lit room, and looking into a crystal bowl and foretelling and talking about the future. But let's clear all that. Let's get into the depth of this, and I'm going to join in, just invite us in our expert Leenata Shah, and we're going to be having a really, really interesting session. And if you have any questions or any answers, please put it down in the chat, and we'll try and address them to all the questions as we can, to our best of our ability. So I'm going to be taking in Leenata right now. So we're just waiting for Leenata. Hi, Prati 5728. Hello, everyone.
Sorry,
Hi,
just a
Leenata.
minute.
No
Hi,
problem. Hi, good evening.
good evening. Sorry, I'm just
Thank
still
you so
sleeping.
much. Thank you so much for joining us on Soul to Soul session with AB. Let me just give you a big, not a big, but just a brief background. What the Soul to Soul sessions with AB is basically, I get in various experts in the field related to mental well-being, emotional well-being, physical well-being, and spiritual well-being. So kind of looking at health and well-being in a more holistic approach. We
Yeah.
had a couple of last sessions where we spoke about physical health, nutrition. We spoke about nutrition and supplements. We spoke about diet. We spoke about intermittent fasting. And last week we had an interesting session on mental, resilience in this pandemic time. So we spoke about mental and emotional well-being. And now it is a very interesting topic. We're looking at, maybe you can call it spiritual hash energy kind of topic related to that. So for the viewers who are joining in, and there are a lot of them that are joining in, that's Amit, Darshan. Good evening, everyone. So let me introduce you all to Leenata. Leenata. She has more than 10 plus years of experience in Reiki, Tarot, and in spiritual healing. You are an artist, a designer, a creative entrepreneur. You're a free-spirited traveler, I know that, and even a casual poet and writer. That is also a very, very pleasant surprise. And I like the way you say that art and healing practice is your way of connecting and reaching out to the world. So that's pretty interesting take. Uh, Thanks, Leenata, once again. So let's just jump right into it. So there has
Thank
been
you, Amit.
yeah.
Thank you for this
So there,
introduction.
oh,
And thank you, first
pleasure.
of all, for this new opportunity, which is making me pretty nervous, but I'm just going to go with the flow.
No
Let's not
worries.
call it an interview. It's just a talk. It's just a talk.
It's just a talk. It's just a dialogue. It's just some. We'll have some healthy discussions, and we're going to get some
Yeah.
interesting questions, which we can deliberate and talk on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know first, this what is the foundation on which tarot card science is based on? There's a lot of mysticism, and people are not really sure about this kind of science. I, for once, did not know till some last week back when I had an amazing session with you. So for the viewers, could you tell us what is exactly the science that's based on tarot card?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you actually, invited me to this, that's why I suggested that you do a session so that you understand it before we have this, a
Absolutely.
conversation. And I'm glad it was good for you. So, first of all, tarot attracted me when I learned it more than 10 years ago. It attracted me because I'm an artist. And it was very exciting to know that a set of pictorial cards is going to have me look at insides of people, look into people, right? And that really excited me. I really didn't do it thinking that I would turn up practicing, but over the years I somehow I always had like an intuitive quality since I was very young. Like when I was in school, I also used to question, like, things that are undefined, question God and stuff like that very early in life. So once
Yeah.
I started doing this, I realized my intuitive power started increasing, or the qualities really started getting honed,
Yeah.
far more. And
Yeah.
I was less conscious of them, and they became more definite, or I started respecting that gift far more. Okay. So what I would say is tarot, it is a very ancient practice that
Correct.
used to happen between the 14th, 15th century. Uh,
Correct.
but I'm not going into the history of it. It has always been mystical, magical, and
Yeah.
there's always this, yes, this little aura around it, and people have certain kind of expectations of it. But
Yeah.
very often people also just think it is woo-woo, it is, hocus pocus. It is not taken
Yeah.
as sincerely.
Correct.
But more and more that I have practiced the tarot, I have realized that just like, deja vu, you can say telepathy, these are things that are, you can't define. They are
Yeah.
undefined, right? And
Yeah.
similarly, I just took to tarot in a way that I realized it is, a divine tool. It's you can say, a psychological device that can allow you to get into information that comes from within, right?
Okay.
And when I say that, I do feel that it's not I that have a special ability. I think we all were born with this a divine connect, inherent ability of
Yeah.
understanding, inherent ability of understanding one's own body and mind wisdom. We
Yeah.
had it when we were born. We had it probably before we were born. And somehow in the physical world, it conditioned us, and we slowly and steadily forget this ability. It's still there. Right? It's probably in our muscle memory, but it
Yeah.
is like we've forgotten the ability to be able to use this connection. And
And the good part is that you recognize your ability and you pursued it. So that's the good part.
yes, yes,
Mm.
actually, it's the tarot that kept, you can say, pushing me to do it more. I
Yeah.
actually felt that, it was not like, I chose it. It was as if it chose me to do more and more of it. And it is, I think, if I had to put it this way, it is based on occult philosophy. And occult philosophy does say that, it is your most powerful source of information or wisdom comes from within. And now if I had to connect it to, we keep saying, okay, what is the universe telling me? What are the messages I'm getting? So if I really had to put it this way, that whatever we call it, some may call it God, some may call it the creator, the universe, the cosmos, as you also have just
Yeah.
rightly mentioned some time back.
Yeah.
So say the source of creation, the divine, right? We all actually strive to be in alignment with this source. Whenever we feel imbalance, or whenever we feel that, okay, probably the conditioning that we've been carrying or the baggage that we've been carrying pulls us away, it has pulled us more and more away from this alignment and this
Alignment.
connection. So the more you can use, whether it's meditation, whether it's other healing modalities, it starts getting you closer to understanding the real you, the core you, or starts at least helping you be able to listen to that inner voice
So
and to
are you,
start being.
when you're doing a tarot session, is it that you are talking to your own higher self, trying to reach out to you, or you're talking about some kind of a cosmic guidance, or how they talk
Yeah,
about your
so
guarding agents around, or is there some higher intelligence also which is there, which wants to help you out? So what is it exactly?
yeah, so this is what I was getting to, that what, when we say receiving from the source, what we need to really understand is that we all are trying to align ourselves with the source. So it is about, it's sign of our when where are we vibrationally, where are we
Hmm.
in frequency with the source, right? So
Yeah.
I could put it this way, that what we say we're receiving from source is
Yeah.
when we align, and when a tool helps us align, we actually
Yeah.
receive it from our own inner wisdom, you know.
Okay.
So I wouldn't
Okay.
separate it, but it's about being able to come with it in one, vibrationally one with it. And the
Together.
more we, yeah, so the more we use any of these modalities, I would say it helps us with this, and tarot as a tool, I think, see, inner wisdom is real. Intuition speaks, it speaks
Yes.
through any of these
Absolutely.
modalities. So it's
Absolutely.
just that it's listening to the universe and receiving from the universe is as if it's listening to your own core voice.
Fantastic.
That's how I
Because I
would
guess we
think.
keep on getting signs and messages, and we are so caught up in a day-to-day mundane routine. We just
Yes.
kind of ignore them or just brush it aside, and then you get one kind of a, what do you call, a jhatka in your life, and then you sit back and you start thinking about it. So in order to, before reaching there, it's good to kind of connect either with your higher self or the source that you rightly say. In order to get guidance and wisdom, it's basically your own inner wisdom or your own higher self that is
Yes.
trying to reach out to you, which you've been
Yeah,
so
and
kind of
trying to be in
bridging it.
yes, and trying to be in synchronicity with the whole, right? That's the whole
Yeah.
point. So I'm trying to say that yes, the higher self is within you and out of you, but it is one ultimately,
One.
and that's the
Yeah.
alignment that we miss out most of our life, right? Yeah.
So one of the users is asking, tarot is there, numerology is there, palmistry is there. There's so much of thing that is out there. I mean, what do we believe in now? Finally, what you're
So see,
confused. We are confused.
no. So see, I think each of these are a science by themselves. Many people, actually, many see tarot readers, tarot consultants all over the world actually approach the reading very differently, or approach
Yeah.
the intuitive tool very differently. So a lot of people use it to get you into, like, to foretell, to
Yeah.
foretell, to give you the future. So yes, even palmistry does. What people do is, maybe a tarot reader could also mix, combine other modalities like numerology and gemology as solutions to what maybe the tarot gave you as a understanding, or what numerology also gave you as an understanding.
Yeah.
But for me, what I feel is, it is such a powerful tool by itself, that one session just to get to decipher these messages as a mix for me on my part,
Yeah.
towards the quadrant, to help use the analysis of the cards and the intuition and the intuitive
Yeah.
aspect of joining the dots in these cards. It gives you so much insight already that
Yeah.
uh, you can go forth and use other modalities also to as solutions, but you
Correct.
do not need to, for example, know the future. I feel there's
And
a reason
yeah.
we don't know tomorrow. There's a reason. There is a reason that there is a certain uncertainty, right? So I'm not I'm not trying to put down any other modality. And astrology it can be so accurate. And if you combine it with tarot, people use it beautifully. But I just feel the present moment is our power.
Correct.
So we all are striving to live in the present moment. Now look at this unique time we're going through. We all
Yeah.
realize, let's just live for today. Let's just do what we can now. So I don't
Exactly.
like using tarot as a foretelling method. And like to answer that question, yes, some people still want to know tomorrow, want to know
Yeah.
dates, and the
Yeah.
tarot can, actually indicate. But I don't use it that way. I sort of use it more as a tool to get into deeper psychology of the symbols and how to actually apply it in everyday life.
I know, and that was so reinforcing for me when I did the session for you, and it was like it was fantastic because it kind of put that whole picture in front of you, and you rightly said it. It's very important for the tarot card reader to be intuited and kind of decipher the cards that are being laid out for you. So that's really so. Suppose now for people who are they want to go in for a tarot card session with you. So is there any kind of preparation they need to do beforehand or something?
So, okay, so see, what I generally tell people before the session is I ask them to just come closer to only the queries you have. The querient needs to be clear about why he or she is doing the session. So obviously you have some questions in mind, you want to know something. So
Yeah.
mostly when a querient comes to me for a guidance, it's basically either they are confused about something, or they're choosing between something, choosing between one job or the other, or one career or the other, or one person to marry or the other, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There could be
Yeah.
questions. So there could be one confusion, there could be choosing between making a choice, there could be a decision. Sometimes it's just a foggy head. It's just that there's just too much happening and I don't know how to deal with this and I need some change. I want to move from this unhappy place.
Yeah.
So what I generally would say is think of what are those situations or questions that you'd like to address in the session, right? And generally, I do a Celtic spread. There are different kind of spreads in a tarot session. I do a
Yeah.
Celtic spread because it gives me enough depth and insight into a little bit about the near past and a little into the near future and your maybe obstacles and what's stopping you and etc. And what can really help you go forth on this path. So what happens is, yes, the querient will come with three questions that are prepared. Three, I generally say three because we try not to do more than three spreads in this one session. I at least follow it that way. And because every spread is going to give you so much more than you've even asked. And I'm sure you've experienced that,
Yeah.
Amit. So
Yeah.
it comes to a point where you, by the third question, you wonder whether you want to ask that question anymore, right? By the third
Exactly.
spread.
Exactly.
So,
The first question,
yeah.
it kind of takes you to several sub questions, and then you kind of get your answer before you knew what
Yeah.
you want to ask your third question.
Yes. And so what I do try and do is, again, what I would say to the person who's coming to the session is, let's come with those questions, come with them, come forth. But I would help them not look at this as, receiving answers, but it's more like finding and receiving a direction. It's more
Got it.
like helps you question differently, helps you question openly. How about just like, changing what your question is?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's also like, can we in fact dive deeper in what's going on? Can we question the inertia? Can we question the procrastination? Can we question, actually connect to the higher self so that we get our own answers and we create our own solutions? So I wouldn't say
Interesting.
that the tarot is the decision maker. It is actually guiding you to make it yourself, make the decision yourself.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, tell me one thing, Linta. A lot of these tarot readings that happen face to face, physically, when you're physically
Yeah.
present. Because I think it depends a
Yeah.
lot on the physical energy that you bring onto the session or onto the cards when
Yeah.
they're being shuffled and all.
Yeah.
You know where I'm taking this question. So now during this pandemic that's happening, where we cannot have a face-to-face session, or we are kind of quite skeptical about it, or kind of anxious about it, can we do
Hmm.
these sessions online through via phone, or does it have any limitations, or it won't be that effective as it is when we are doing it physically? So can you, share some light on that?
So I have been doing sessions online since very long, even before this pandemic. And yes, now in during the pandemic, everyone's taking to bringing forth their gifts in
Yeah.
online and being able to be available online. But what I would say about whether a person actually a real person doing it while it being doing done virtually, um, it is actually no different. When you do a session, what you're doing is the querent and the consultant is actually connecting to that aligned place, to that inner wisdom, to the higher force, right?
You're connecting
Anyway,
to energy, so it doesn't have to be
to
physical
energies.
presence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's all about energies, exactly. So it's all about energies that is channeled through the cards, right? It's channeled through the cards. So like I said, telepathy, deja vu, time travel, these are all, they're not restricted by space, or time and space and any dimension as such,
Yeah.
right? They are
Yeah.
just energies, because energies transcend. Correct. So in that
Correct.
understanding, one may feel, why would you let like some people do tarot on the computer as well. So one would say, why would you let an algorithm, decide for you,
What? Yeah.
a direction. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. But it is, even there, like, if you see, there are enough modalities which actually, like, there is enough understanding that, say, Mercury retrograde, the planet's position is actually affecting your technology, affecting your computer. What I'm trying to say is everything is about energies.
Energy.
So,
Correct.
yes, so the connect in this very moment is what opens up that appropriate card. And whether it's done virtually or it's done in person, the distance in no way comes in the way of spiritual connection.
I would say success or the effectiveness of the session would depend upon even how open the person who's coming for a session is, how open he is in terms of surrendering or trusting you, or on when you're dealing on the cards, what is the energy, the pure energy or uncluttered energy that you're throwing. So it's good to come in with the what do you call, a calm mind, less clutter and chatter that is happening. So you think that also makes a session successful or not?
See, what is important is that when I am doing a session, I am clutter free. And if I'm not okay, I actually even postpone the session. Because, I'm not speaking from a platform having reached there and said, I've done this for so many years, so
Yeah.
I'm healed as such. Because we
Yeah.
all know
Yeah.
it's progressive and it's constant work. So in that
Yeah.
sense, I wouldn't expect that the querian comes with. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes the person's mind is foggy. Sometimes there is confusion. You
Yeah.
would, yes, the person will attract more clarity through the cards if the person is clear. But in the non-clarity space, also, your body is, your inner self is giving you a certain wisdom, and that's
Certain.
what we're tapping into, right? So it is not about, if I'm already clear, I probably may not need that session, then maybe just my surface level of wisdom allows me to just take the right path or the right decision. Because then, if you're clear, you're probably more connected with your inner self at that point.
True.
So
True. True.
then, I wouldn't say that a person needs to come with more clarity. Yes, but trust and faith, because this session needs to be treated not
Yeah.
like hocus pocus, has to be treated
Yeah.
not with skepticism, has to be treated with the divine respect that you may have when you enter a sacred space. Be it a
True.
temple, mosque, church, whatever, when you enter that space, the deeper you go in, you know that you're keeping the world outside. Why? Because you want to connect to the higher self and you want to
True.
connect to your inner
True.
self. So you
True.
start
True.
keeping everything else behind and coming into that sacred space. So similarly,
Sacred.
I always say that at the beginning of my session, that treat this in that manner and respect it, and which will then allow you to be open and honest. The more honest you are, yes, the more clarity the
More.
cards can give you.
So then, on this point, only one of our viewers, Vinod Jadwani, asked a question that physical presence will have a different mindset than virtual. So,
Yeah. So I think, see, even see, in this time of this pandemic, in these unique times, we all are experiencing, we miss on connect. We miss on connecting
Yeah.
with friends, with people. Some people are away from family. But yes, physical presence makes a difference. If you look at it spiritually, you don't need that physical presence.
Yeah.
But that is the understanding of, of.
I think it's more of a self belief. I mean, you have that belief that okay, physically, uh, I need to be there to make it an effective session. And this is the same query I had when I had a session with you. So I think the
Yeah.
most important is, and I think Tejas has put it rightly here. As one of the viewer. Clarity is basically very important. To bring in onto the session. And I think he's also asking, does clarity? So clarity helps ask the right questions. Yeah, I think so. But you
Yes,
can
so
please
clarity.
answer.
But yes, so what I'm saying is that's why it's also a part of my session to help the person come closer to the kind of question, to
Yeah,
keep the question broad enough so that it's not so detailed that you pre-decide the solution. I'll give you an
correct.
example for that also. But at the same time, people are coming when they don't have clarity. So yes, a
Yeah,
session will give you more if you are clear. But at least it's a first step towards coming towards clarity, taking those steps
yeah,
at least.
yeah,
And again, I want to say about the presence. It matters when someone is very disturbed that you have someone to sit face to face. It matters that you know that there is this listening ear, and I can see and I can feel and I can
yeah.
sense the understanding and the empathy. It does matter. But I am saying that it does not make a difference to the session actually,
Session. And I
the
can vouch
working
for
of the
that
field.
for sure. I can vouch
Yeah.
for it.
So I was saying an example, okay, an example for how we should frame the questions. Like he said, okay, clarity will give you right
Yeah,
questions. Yes, yes, we need to know our questions, but sometimes we have the mota question. We have the wider, the broad enough question, right? And
yeah,
that could be something simple as we have this focus that how can I change the dynamics with my boss? Say I'm having a tough time with my boss. And my question is, how can I change the dynamics with my boss? This is a very open ended, broad question, right?
mm,
But if I come and I say, this, what happens is this allows to decipher whether you could do this or you could do that, or
yeah,
could you change something to get along with your boss, or it is in such a bad space that even after these kind of solutions, no, I think I can change I think you should change your job,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
if the person already comes with, how can I change the dynamics with my boss? Should I change my job? What happens is you have already made up your mind.
yeah.
Whereas the question of wanting to change the dynamics with your boss, you want to already change
Correct.
your boss,
Yeah,
your job.
your job.
So this is what I mean, that it sometimes the person we want to know something but has already decided something, and then you need to point it. I need to point it out, saying, maybe you've already made up your mind about this. So then what next? Then what do you want to know?
So
So these are the final layers of questions. And also, for example, if you have an open-ended question, you will also allow the solutions to open up. You'll allow different views to open up. It's literally like two
yeah,
plus two can be four, but five minus one can be four, and eight minus four can be
eight
four. So what I'm trying to say is there are different ways of looking at it. But if you say, "Oh, should I quit this job?" You already decided you don't want the different viewpoint.
correct, correct. Yeah, I understand. It's very important on how to frame the questions. There's a question quite interesting that I think it's by um, Diff. I don't know if I got the name right. Diff Monday 16, asking that do you recommend a gap between tarot sessions, and if yes, how far apart?
So see, I personally don't take a session within the same month unless there's really emergency. Sometimes people call in a very urgent state of mind. So it's very like counseling sessions. You generally maybe would take one a week, but sometimes people do call you just one a month, after a month again.
True.
There is a reason for this that, you have had enough messages come to you. There are signs, there are symptoms, there are messages come through one session. If you're going to rush back and run back to again want to know next, you're not respecting what you've already taken on a platter.
True.
Because when you get these messages, they are just come on a platter, but you need to put them into some form of action or understanding or living of it, in your daily life. So you need to give that
Yeah.
person at least 1 month to try to decipher how it shapes up in that person's life. So I wouldn't take a session before a month.
So that's one of the questions that I wanted to ask. When you spoke about future, definitely there are a lot of possibility or potentialities that exist in the future. Uh,
Yeah.
so I don't know, is tarot science can exactly pinpoint your future? That is one part of the question, and the second part of the question, I'm thinking from this question, that how often should I have? Do you see that there's then a kind of a dependency on these sessions, and you kind of become, I would not like to use the word slave, but you kind of you're always looking out
I
for a
know what you're
crutch
saying.
or support rather than
Yeah.
believing in yourself, and then kind of demean your own confidence.
Yes. So see, it really again depends on where the person is, like in terms of emotionally where the person is, emotionally where in terms of clarity where the person is, because I can say for sure that in my life so many times I have known that this is maybe for now, this is what helps me, this is my solution, but just because I'm scared of making it my crutch, and just because I'm scared of the same place of
Yeah.
accept and say, for now, I'm not in the emotional state to not take to this. So if we shift that and shift that sentence in our head that it's a crutch, and just say, this is my support for now, I need to allow it. Because this also somewhere your wisdom is taking you to what seems the first and foremost support. So if you
Support.
look at it that way, it's a change of how you look at it. It is really a change of viewpoint, because see, I feel tarot can be used as a tool, in fact, to help you become more self-confident, because with the help of
Correct.
this tool you can actually connect with the source, you can connect with your inner wisdom, and inner wisdom is strong and is
Strong.
resourceful.
Yeah.
It's really empowering. So
Yeah.
what stops you now? Why would we say that it's actually making if it's a crutch, or it's making the person a slave, or that the fact that what I'm trying to say is it empowers a person to become in fact more self-reliant over time, sometimes over just one session. Mostly I've seen even one session just changes that for somebody. Then maybe they need to take other aspects into action as daily practice. You can't keep saying, okay, now let me question more.
Same.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing of the
Yeah.
sessions that we've come for? Yeah.
Correct. So, another good point, that was part of my questions as well. Nitin Mehra asked us that if I'm in a tarot session and I wanted to ask something about a person who's not there physically, not part of the session, would tarot help me in answering those questions?
Yeah, so see, ask about individuals who are not in the present is fine. It's definitely fine. Yes, from anywhere, I can do a session from anywhere in the world. I can do a session for anyone in the world, and about for anyone who's living anywhere. So the person also doesn't need to be present, but as long as the intention is clean towards that person,
Yeah.
you're asking with a clean heart, you're asking for well-being, or for you're wishing the person well. But I would still say that always it is your session. So in your session, even if you want to know about someone else, focus should be on you. Focus on you and make what is the context with this person will be important in this session, because this session is yours. So you can ask
Okay.
about someone else, but what is the context? Why are you asking this question? Will also become a crucial aspect of this session. That's what I find important.
All right. There's another question. Get Droid says that people either follow faith or science. Where does tarot fall in this?
So, like I said, I think all of these modalities, which science, literally is not even doesn't have proof of, but the usability of it and the fact that the tool is working itself is proof. And so there may be skepticism in the beginning, but just try it so that you know that there is a science behind it. Because,
Science.
but as I explained, we already spoke of it in the beginning that it's energies. It doesn't sort of energies can't, you don't need proof. It's like telepathy. It's like deja vu. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
And I want to tell Get that you have to go there once to experience it. And I was at the same place. Where you said about faith and science. Till you don't go out there and try it for yourself with an open heart and an open mind, you will keep on asking this question. So you need to try this, because at least my session, it was like my whole story, past, present, and future, right in front of me in that very moment.
It was amazing.
So yeah, Get please give it a shot. Another
And
question
lastly, I
was
want to
by
say one thing
Tejas.
here. Sorry,
Sorry?
sorry. Sorry for the
Yeah,
interruption. I
please.
want to say one thing to Roy, right? You said Roy. That trust me, there are enough people who come for sessions just to test with enough skepticism. And they sat there totally closed, totally skeptical, trying to test me. And they have definitely left with an open heart, with an open mind. And sort of blown that this can, because I don't know the person from nowhere. And suddenly I say things that, are so insightful and so deep into that person that obviously you win over that person through that tarot, Yeah.
There's a question by Rohit Khatri. He's asking, does tarot help in past life regression?
See, tarot, like I said, how I said about the future, tarot can definitely even can connect you to the past. Tarot has the ability to take you into future, to take you into the past. It's just that I don't use it as, in that way. I don't use the modality in the tool that way. But yes, it does. But so when we're saying as past life regression, again, it probably would have to be combined with a past life regression, or a neuro-linguistic programming kind of a technique. It can give you insights into the past, like it can give you insights into the future, but then you may have to use other tools also to support it. And so intuitively it can take you anywhere. It can really, it's a very powerful tool.
Depends upon the session.
Yeah, also depends on the session, because sometimes the session may just get into the past, even if I choose not to do it that way. Sometimes it just may get into the future. Because understand, we are all the time questioning on basis of past or questioning about the future. I just use the tool in a certain way because it's my pursuit in my own life also to bring myself to now, to keep bringing myself back to the present, and that's the reason I'm speaking of how I'm
and you rightly said it, that during the session, basically you get the answers exactly what you're looking out for that particular moment or that situation, and then you don't even need the second, or probably even the second, not even need the third question, because you get your answers in that first spread itself.
So that's what happened with you, Amit. That's what happened with you. Not necessarily it happens with everybody. And also, even if you want to know a time, we have time cards. But sometimes if you're not ready for it, that time card is not going to open up. So it's like this, we do get messages. It's the same thing as, why don't we all, if we have the ability actually, why aren't we all living in present, knowing what our future is going to be? There's a reason behind it, right? So in the same way, there's a reason why something doesn't come to us, even if we ask again and again, because maybe I'm not ready for it today. Maybe what I need to know has already come to me and I need to do something about that first. So there are enough reasons why sometimes something doesn't come to us. And maybe it's just because you want to hear a certain kind of an answer, but the tarot has given you something else and you don't want to listen to that one.
True.
But understand that one that you don't want to listen to also is coming from your inner connection, your inner wisdom as well.
You need to hear that out.
From me. Yes. It's not coming from me. I'm just being a channel. Right.
So Tejas writes us again, Tejas Datta, that is it advisable for people, to take their own cards, angelic cards, and start drawing and trying to sort out their issues by themselves on a regular basis?
So the tarot actually can be a very powerful tool for yourself as well. But for me personally, my experience is that I, throughout more than 10 years that I'm practicing it, I used in the beginning, when I started practicing and testing myself at it, I used it for people and I started people kept saying, oh my God, you're so precise. And it started encouraging me more. And very very happily I would read for myself and was always disappointed. I was just it just didn't take me it didn't take me into good space, you know. And then that's when I realized that actually it's always better to do your session from someone else, because you are not so deeply attached to that person who's reading it for you is not deeply
You're
attached to the
disconnected. You're not
solution and the
biased.
question.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're not biased and you're not already wishing to get an answer that you expect, or wishing to, you don't force the tarot direction. You don't pre-decide the situation. You allow different perspectives as well. But on the same, I mean, what he's saying, I mean, I know what Tejas is asking, it can be a very powerful tool. When you do start reaching a place, which I feel today, that I can sort of distance myself, separate myself from what the tarot is telling me, and look at it from a bird's eye view or from a perspective. It's because maybe I've also developed the ability to look at my own situations just from outside, because that's
Outside.
what helps better. So that's when, now that I have that ability and I'm stronger at that, the tarot cards can really be a personal tool. So there are some people who just use it as a personal tool, and it's pretty powerful. You can use it as an everyday tool, just telling you I want my day to be this way. What is the suggestion? What do you advise that I should focus on, for
Focus
example?
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing is, now what happens if there is some kind of a negative uh, prediction or a negative news or something which you see is going to happen? So how do you kind of decipher that for the person? I mean, is there a solution that you would provide, or how does it work?
So, see, first of all, to unfold negative news is always difficult, even for the reader, right? And very often there is negative news, or there is like an answer that a person doesn't want to hear, and probably many times even the reader doesn't want it to come out, because you don't want to talk like about something like this to somebody. But yes, it is very
But then
necessary.
I just want to interject here. Sorry, will you stop at that point and not
No.
say, because, or you would be forthright and say, look, you need to be prepared for this, or something like this is
Yes.
going to happen.
That's what I was getting to. So what happens is, it really helps as a tarot guide if you are empathetic, and if you are understanding, and if you are, because there's a way that you can frame something that is infathomable for somebody, not being able to digest. You're not going to just, I mean, at least I would do that. I'm not just giving news and saying, hey, listen, this is what it is, this is what the cards say, and now you deal with it. It's not like that. I don't do my sessions that way. And so in that sense, I think there are ways to help the person, or encourage the person to go forth in life despite or in spite
In spite of
the unpleasant information. But also, it is necessary for me to be very, very honest to the session. If a message has come up, in fact, there are many times even messages that have come up and not asked for, I sort of give a hint. I already give a hint, because I'm preparing that person for what's coming up next. So yes, there is a wee bit of future over here when I say what's coming up next. But
yeah.
yes, it's not devoid of tomorrow. Your present day reading also is not completely devoid of tomorrow. So I think it's very important to speak from a place of one's own experience and how one would want to hear a news like that.
But
And
then
put yourself.
but would you even provide any kind of solutions, whether to, I would say, how do I say it, whether to lessen the impact, or if you can avoid it completely, or you can take such and such steps and you can try this out, or some kind of strategies or options?
Yeah, so there are ways. I mean, there are so many times the cards itself give direction, give solutions, or give like sort of questionable aspects, so that you then re-question and you say, okay, if this, then what? Or if I
Yeah.
try this, then what? So the session, the cards itself will keep coming out as tools and as messages. And probably when I give solutions, I very clearly say, I'm not giving you a solution, I'm suggesting this could work, or I'm requesting you try this, because those I speak, one, intuitively, so many times very, very intuitively. And second is from my own life experiences. But I have to be very careful that the session is not about my life experience. Most often, the person sitting there is like a mirror reflection for me in that particular session for that particular day for me. But then I have to really cut myself out of it and see that what for that person could help
Will it?
at this point. Yeah. And one that, and also remind the person of their inherent gifts. What is that person's gift? What can you live by in this moment? So, though this is happening, or though this is about to happen, or you didn't see this part of the situation, and I'm now letting you know, hey, listen, there is also this part of the situation that you may have to worry about. So, it
Yeah.
always seem
Give them tools
ambiguous,
or
but I'm
something
sure
in which they
everyone,
can kind of leverage themselves.
yes,
You know.
yes. So I'm sure everyone can put some situation now in their head when I'm speaking like this. That's why I'm speaking of it with ambiguity, just a situation.
Yeah.
You look, you can think of it for yourself. And that's when you just remind the person of what his or her ability and his or her gift is to live by
Yeah.
and live through this situation.
So Manoj is
So I'll give you
asking
one more
that.
example.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to give one example here. So you know what? Many times when we say one is, I would say, in any situation, I would encourage the person to focus on himself or herself, right? Similarly, I also help to start in a positive way through this session. It's almost like it's your step towards, okay, how do I change things positively? So instead of why did this happen to me? Why is it this way? Why is it that way? I would always encourage, because this is something I tell myself also, what can I do to help the situation or this emotion? How can I move from here? Rather than why did this happen and why is this situation? One, that, and second is the example I was giving is, say a woman comes, for the session, and she says, my husband, I don't know why he's spending so much excess time at work. Okay. And I'd say, how about we reframe? What is your problem actually? If he's spending excess time, it wasn't like this before, now he is he distracted, whatever. So then you bring her back to, so what would you like actually? Let's come to that. And then we may come to a question where we say, what can I do to bridge this gap between him and me? Now, are you seeing how we've completely shifted from why is he spending so much time there to can we really bridge this gap between him and me, and what solution is there for that?
Got it.
Yeah.
Manoj was asking that a lot of these tarot card readers, they give these angels,
Angel
for
message.
calm and positivity. Do these actually kind of work? Do these really
Yes.
work? He's asking.
Yes. So see, whether it's goddess cards, angel cards, and there are many kind of oracle cards, there are so many decks like this. I personally have used goddess cards and angel cards along with my tarot session. Amit, since I'm talking to him, I mean, you have experienced it that after every spread, I would also give you a goddess message or an angelic message.
Yeah.
And it is so in sync with that spread and the sort of the conclusive aspect of that, particular spread and what solution we come to. So many times they are not necessarily only positive messages. Sometimes that goddess is actually slapping you on your face, reminding you that you're not doing something right and you need to shift from there. It's just that it's always spoken with positivity and with a lot of love. And so it has a quality to embrace you rather than shun you. And it's beautiful. So it's beautiful to end every spread, every question, solution with a message. And yes, they are very, very, very beautifully bang on and connected to what we are trying to address.
And it boils down, I think, for Manoj, I mean, for anyone, I mean, it's your belief and faith at the end of it. And you find solace and comfort and positivity with the angel who, whatever the angel spoke to you during a session, you want to keep that. I think it's just about faith and belief in this.
I agree.
So, I got a question again by Get Droid. When I have a challenge currently, I have a couple of options: a life coach or an astrologer or a botany. And now, why should I supersede all these with tarot cards? Okay.
So whatever works, right? I mean, I would say, I think
Exactly.
he didn't get an answer. That's why he's asking it again. I think it's about what helps you, what suits you. Like I said, like when you ask me, does it become a crutch? What I said is to
Yeah.
accept that in this moment, this has worked for
Yeah.
me, and I'd like to go for this.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
people, if there's a modality that's worked, or if just going and talking to that a particular friend, even if it's again and again, has really helped me in the past so many times, that's all I will do.
Yeah.
I may not
Yeah.
choose on any of the healing modalities. Just look at what works for you. You don't need
Yeah.
to spiritually, do spiritual shopping. You don't need to do that. In fact, stick to one or two things that are already working for you. Uh, yes, if you want to try this out for fun, please come. I will give you a tarot session. Then you decide whether you want to move from Amit to Linata as the solution provider.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
mean
we're
what
not
I
solution
mean what we're trying to
providers.
tell here is that there's so many options and so many tools that we have available, and we should kind of use it for betterment. I mean, we all are
Absolutely.
basically a work in progress. I think we all are trying to be the best and the grandest version of ourselves. We are striving for it. We're striving for that happiness. And like you rightly said, happiness is it's in the moment, to be present in the moment right now. And whatever works for you. I mean, if life coaching works for you, we need to talk to someone. If you want to go for a tarot session, it's your choice. Whatever resonates with your energy, whatever resonates with your vibe, you follow that tribe. So
And whatever it is today for you, it may change tomorrow. You may want to try out something and you may say, no, I want to go back to what I was already doing. It could be,
exactly,
it's your decision, it's
there's no
your
hard and fast rule
direction.
for anything. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But
And it's not like one works better than the other. It also, so many times, it depends on what is it that you're going for. Like if you're going for a time reading, you want to know dates, go to an
yeah,
astrologer. And there are tarot
perfect.
readers who give you time, then go to the tarot reader. Like I will make it clear in the beginning, I don't do time. I don't give you future dates. So I'm just saying, so it depends on what you want also from that session.
Okay, thank you, Linata. That was amazing. I don't know where the time flew. I'm just keeping that's why I have a tab on my watch over here. But it was
Wow,
so
it's over.
insightful, and I'm sure I mean, you can see the proactiveness of our viewers today in the session. I think there was a lot of interest. And so if they want to reach out to you, can they use it on your handle, Forever Linata on Instagram? Can they reach out with you on
Yes,
that?
they can send me a message there, then I'll give them my number. I prefer talking to them or, connecting on WhatsApp. And
Perfect. Or they can reach out to on my handle, and I can connect them across to you for sure.
yes, yes, yes.
Thank you once again, Linda. Thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to have
Thank
something
you so
more,
much,
couple of
Amit.
more sessions with you for sure, because I think we were fantastic, and there was no need for you to have these, what do you call,
Nervous bumps.
anxious moments. Yeah, yeah.
I still was even throughout this talk.
No, no, it was
But
fantastic.
I
It was
just like to
fantastic.
I'd like really like you to thank you for breaking this ice because I seriously have been nervous even throughout. It's not about talking about tarot. It is really about just being on camera, I guess, or whatever, this live session. But I just like to give one message to everybody since we
Sure,
did just to sum up this session
sure.
that each of us has got what it takes to see the situation to the end. If
True.
it's a tarot session, I just demystify the cards for you, and you find the power within yourself to persevere.
That's great.
So I think we need to go with an end message, which that we
No,
all are very
very well
powerful
said, and
people.
very well put, and very well concluded.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Amit, so much. And we
Thank
should
you,
do something
Linita.
more again. I'm already excited for more.
100%, 100%. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and have a great Sunday evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.